My first tattoo was this one. It's my grandparents. Was 2010. It was the year I moved first to Moto2. They both passed away within a month of each other. And because it meant a lot to me, I thought having it close to my heart was the best place. And my sister actually has the same tattoo on the side, so we have the same connection, which is quite cool. And yeah, it was my first one there, and that kind of triggered my tattoo development on. Next one was this roses with the sprocket. That was a long one. That was a 6-hour one. So I went from this one was 2 hours, this one was 6, was a big step. And I had this one because in racing, a lot of people think a rider doesn't have feelings, which actually at the end of the day, we're normal people, we are humans, I do day-to-day things like other people do. But on the same hand, we are different. And sometimes when people slate you because you're not doing something right or you did something wrong, they think you're invincible to it, but actually it does actually hurt your feelings. You are human, but at the same time, we do go out and race a bike at 200 odd miles an hour, and we do risk our life, and we are a bit mechanical, a bit different. So that was the reason of having them two things. I think this one, I didn't, don't count every race, make every race count. That was again in a different place. That was the same place as this guy. Because where Mickey is, he's up in London, and it was like, for me to keep travelling there was a long way. And I had this just purely because of what it says. I was sometimes finishing a race, and I was like, should have overtook him, I should have maybe made that move, should have done this. And I had that done in the winter of 2012. Anyway, the year before I was fighting with the title, I can't remember the year to point. But I had that just to remind me that the next year, every time I go out, every race I go to, I want to finish the race and be like, okay, there is nothing I could have improved on. For example, last week at the race in Barcelona, when the tyre gave up, I could have pulled in and said, okay, the tyre's done, but actually it was about digging deep and at least trying my best to finish the race and doing the best I could, because if I didn't finish the race, then I got a lot of jip from the team saying, oh, you should have done this, should have done that. Well, I should have, but I didn't, so I just want to be in that situation.
There's a story behind where your scar is then from the crash you had on the MotoGP bike in
That's it. Yeah, well, that scar there breaks my brain every time I look at it. That was the loss of a world championship right there, which was really frustrating. So I thought, at least when I'm going to get operated, because I got operated Saturday night after the crash, just as the guy was putting me to sleep, I said, just one thing. Could you just miss my tattoo, please? Because I can't handle going over. He did a really good job. The scar's a bit off, but the tattoo's still there. So, it's still a memory there. Not a good one, but it is what it is.
And talk us through the stopwatch on your forearm.
Yeah, that was actually the follow-up from there. And the stopwatch was because everything's against time. If you're not quite fast enough, you won't make it. Sometimes if you're too quick, you miss it. And in racing, that always counts, every lap, every corner. And also here I got the time pointing to 48, which is for Tommy's hour, the incident we had in 2010. And I had that because I wanted something close to me that I know. I don't want to have a big number that everybody sees it. I just want it to be for me, personal, and to have him always with me when I'm racing. And have my number pointing to the same place, and we're there together doing still what we do.
And the most painful tattoo you've had to date?
It has to be, honestly, a battle between the hands and the neck. The neck really did hurt because we were trying to line up with the wings. It wasn't quite right, and then because it was with Mickey, everything has to be on point, got to be right. So then it was clean it off with alcohol, again a print on, no, clean it again, like 4 times over, clean with alcohol. My skin was raw before we started. Like, I kid you not, it was the rawest I've ever felt. It was hurting before we started. So as soon as he put it in, I was like, this is going to be a long evening. I stuck through it, got all right. But with the hands, I don't know if I would do it again. Because he started this one, and I was like, whoa, that hurts. But then it just, as he starts to finish, you're like, a little bit fading. Then he goes to the next finger. So you have that pain again.
One down, 7 to go.
And it's just every time you start with the pain that you started the first one. It doesn't, because normally it goes a little bit numb, you get used to it, but every finger doesn't get used to it. But by the time I got to this finger, the whole hand this was the best finger of all of them. And then I had to start this hand. So this hand had kind of faded, and I started again on this finger. And I was actually, when you did the first letter, I was like, I can't do it. I cannot do it. The pain was incredible because, I don't know, just the bone, I don't know, just so sharp was the feeling. Normally it's not too bad once you get used to it, but with that, never again.
And what about the one on your neck? Is that one piece with the wings?
No, I have. It was two different ones. I was in Thailand and I wanted to get the bamboo tattoo, but I couldn't find it. I wanted to something a bit traditional. You know, I wanted to have the Capricorn, what I got there, and I wanted it to be with the bamboo, but I couldn't find anyone to do it. So I thought, well, I'll just go get it done in a normal place, and then I just wanted it really dark, get some ink in there, and which normally a tattoo like that shouldn't take too long. Was there for a good hour and 20, just ploughing ink in, and that was kind of hurting. And then I had the wings done at a later date by Mickey.
And your latest one?
My latest was this, with all the map work, because, you know, traveling quite a lot around the world, and I like to travel. I do a lot of road trips. So, you know, I got the UK there. We got some stuff under here. A nice little skull up on there, so just another thing that I do. I mean, the only tattoo I have that doesn't really have a meaning is the one on the back of my arm. You know, I got with the rose and the skull. So I wanted to get a tattoo, but I didn't know really what to have. So I went to see Mickey. I said, today you do what you want to do. He says, what about skulls? I love skulls. I said, you know what, do it. And I just let him go freehand on the skull, you know, and just do what he wanted to do. Because, you know, he does most of my artwork. I thought, let him have his piece. The same day I tattooed my signature on his arm, and he still claims to this day that he's still recovering.
Was it harder than it looked?
It was just strange because, you know, like the needle's going really fast, so you expect it to be like dotty. So you go slower, and it's just strange because the skin moves. And it's quite a delicate place there for me, like, to even do that. But it wasn't too bad. It wasn't, you know, perfect, but, you know, can't always be perfect.
And what's next?
What's next? I would like to get some stuff down my ribs. I would like a nice, like a motivational / poem, something that means something to me. I would have liked, my dad wrote a poem at my nan's funeral, and it would have been perfect, but being a Reading loses it, you know, sort of thing I would do. So I've been on him to try and find it. He's tried to find it, can't find it. So I want to try and find something from the stuff I can remember from it, the stuff I can bring into it. I would like that down there. And yeah, I would like to get down my hand here finished and try and have a rest, you know. But it's hard, you know. If you got tattoos out there, you know, you want to get more. It's hard to kind of stop.
It is an addiction, right?
Yeah.
You always have bike social written on you somewhere.
Yeah, I have to pay big for that
What
one.
would that cost?